Hello everybody and welcome. So the Bungie weekly update came out overnight for us Australian Guardians, and with it an update on the release of the Prestige mode raid. It is to go ahead next week as planned, although it appears the glitch for the final boss is not yet fixed. They also previously stated that they will be increasing the sandbox difficulty in general, so let's have a look at the likely sandbox changes that are going to be in place for the Prestige mode raid and what you need to expect. Looking at the Royal Bath section first, I do think that there'll be more beavers, in that the beavers in the normal mode only spawn on the top two sections first, and then there's a delay until they spawn at the bottom two plates. I reckon that on starting the encounter, there's going to be 4 beavers that spawn on all the plates, so be prepared to use your power ammo straight away. As well as the higher influx of adds in general for the encounter, then it's going to be a lot more tough in general. Also, I reckon that there's going to be a higher health for the systems when it comes to the damage phase, so be prepared to take longer during that phase. I also think that they may change the timer for the psionic resistance that you get from the buff through running through the orbs, but it was at a limit anyway most times when running through this encounter, so I'm not sure whether that one will change at this stage, but be prepared for it to change. Now, looking at the pleasure gardens, the most obvious thing that's going to change in this to me is that there's going to be 8 howling beasts that need to be destroyed as part of this encounter. If you remember from the normal mode, there's only 6 beasts, however there is 8 flowers situated around the gardens, so it's highly likely there's going to be 8 beasts that need to be destroyed. There's also probably going to be more handlers that are going to spawn on each time you get a buff, so be prepared to use the spores to take them out as quick as possible, because they're going to affect the runs big time. Now, if you can't manage to get a big buff from this encounter, then you're going to struggle to get at least 2 rotations in this part, because the 8 dogs is definitely going to take 2 rotations unless you manage to get a really high buff, and that is ultra rare unless you get really good spawn points for the flowers and are able to get to them quickly. So be prepared to take a little bit longer on this part, probably as long as you did the first time when it was in the raid when it was released on normal mode. Next, I'm going to look at the gauntlet encounter. Now, there's not too much that I think is going to change here. I think it's probable that there's going to be more players required to finish at the end, as well as maybe more rotations where all 6 players in the fire team have to go inside the gauntlet to run it. But that's probably be about it, and probably the plates will move up and down from the beginning when you're shooting the arrows to allow the single runner through. I also think that the timer is going to be cut down, so you're going to have to run it quicker. You're going to have to be a lot more efficient in getting through and picking your spots that you're going to jump through the hoops. And I also reckon that there's going to be more adds that spawn at the beginning, and also probably adds that are going to spawn during the bit where you have to shoot the arrows to get your runner through from the inside. So be prepared for this one to be a little bit harder than it was in the normal mode. Finally, on to Callus. Now, this one's going to be the toughest part of the raid, obviously, and it's already pretty tough as it is. So the adds are going to spawn, there's going to be a lot more of them, and they're going to be tougher. There's probably going to be more yellow bar enemies too that spawn, so there's going to be plenty of power bars for you to pick up, but there are going to be a lot more enemies to kill. I also believe that the time is going to be a lot shorter between the rounds, so you're going to have to kill them scions if you're in the throw room very quick, and you're also going to have to shout out your corresponding plate if you're inside the void for your teammates, because they are going to disappear quick time as well. Scions are also going to need killing quicker in the void, which is going to make it a lot harder, a lot trickier, and there's going to have to be a lot more coordination, and everybody's going to have to be on point to get this encounter through. Also, Callus is probably going to have more damage, that's just a given, and the time that you spend on the plates during the damage phase is going to be a lot shorter, and this is going to make the whole encounter a lot more tough, and you're probably going to end up near an enrage cycle with Callus before you manage to beat the raid, so be prepared for this one to be quite frustrating, but very satisfying if you manage to finish it and get it done, because you're going to get some good loot there. Now, just going to discuss what I think is going to change with the Castellium. If you note from playing the normal mode, the first set when you had to get through the door was quite easy, the ads were pretty non-aggressive, but then by the time you were getting through to Callus, there was wave after wave of ads, lots of yellow bars, lots of counsellors. It was very tough. Now, I think it's going to be like that from the beginning, and it's only going to ramp up from there. So, if you haven't already, then I would suggest finding the optimum routes through the underbelly, because these are going to be easiest, they're going to be the quickest in the prestige mode, and if you don't know them, then it's going to take you forever, and you're probably going to struggle for quite a while in the Castellium, keeping back all of the ads from getting the keys as and when you get them. So practice the underbelly for this one. Now, also another thing that I've noted from doing the normal mode is the keys that drop from each encounter, they tend to lead you to the area where you need to get through to your next part. So it makes sense to go through the underbelly so you can pick up that chest as you're going through to get to the next part of the raid and the encounter. Obviously it rotates on a weekly basis, but I've noticed this, and it's definitely going to be more efficient to go through in the prestige mode than it was in the normal mode. So make sure you get onto that and learn the underbelly as soon as possible. It's also highly likely that the revive token system will change, and I reckon it's going to either drop down to 3 or back to the very harsh none from Destiny 1. But as Bungie stated previously in the build up to the raid release, they were looking at other methods to increase the difficulty than just not allowing people to be revived, especially during the prestige mode of the raid. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Again, obviously good strategies are a must for the prestige mode, as they were for the hard modes of Destiny 1. So with a bit of practice, the prestige mode, you'll be able to complete it without too many issues, I would have thought, if you have a good fire team who've managed to get these strategies down and good practice at that. So there you go. There's my thoughts on what likely to expect for the prestige mode and what you're probably going to need to practice in the build up to its release. Let me know what you think about these opinions in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe for more future Destiny 2 content. Find me on Twitch and also follow me on Twitter. Thanks for watching. Cheers.